And we're live! Hello and welcome! This is Angela R. Sasser, fantasy artist and creative writer and mask maker. I do a lot of different things. You can see more of all those different things at angelasasser.com. For this stream, I'm working on a sketch for one of my sketch collectors on Patreon. Oops, I forgot to load up my chat. Let me do that. Whew, it has been a long month, you guys. My brain is so dead. So, yeah, working on Patreon sketches, which I am so last minute on. Because this month I've been working hard on the coloring book for the Ladies of the Month Birthstone series that I've been working on for a long time now. So that's been absorbing all of my brain power. But I made it! And here we are! And I'm actually on my mic for once instead of hiding in the chat. So, hello! Here is my voice. And I realize I haven't changed my streaming title either, so maybe I should go do that. I'm gonna do that real fast. But yeah, so hopefully you guys have had a good month. It's one of my favorite months since it's Halloween and autumn and all those wonderful, lovely seasonal things. Oh, I'm told my mic's a little quiet, so let's see. Is my mic close enough? Alright, how do I sound now? I'm just turning down the music a little bit. And I'll move the mic closer. Can you hear me now? Alright, awesome. Let me retitle this stream real fast. So I'm gonna mute myself so you don't hear all my typing. Alright, so yes, October, that's what I was talking about. I love October, I love the changing leaves. It's just the best month, the best season. And anyways, so Patreon sketching, here we are. This month I'm starting with one of my new patrons, Demi's monthly sketch. Hi Demi, thank you for the support. And the request this month was for her friend's really adorable elf sorceress. And I've already, before I hopped onto the stream, did a little sketching here for Clementine, that's her name. And this really cute reference by Emmy Boone, or Emmy Bun. And I wanted to sketch a character that, or rather I wanted to get a pose down for her that showed some playfulness because she's described as very naive and happy, so of course I had to have her smiling. And I'll probably end up adding fire magic here around her hands. That's why she's doing the weird gestures with her hands. So that'll be done later on once I get into some of the shading. Yay, so many people in the chat. Hello! Oh, excuse me. Okay, so let's see how much I can get done in an hour. So I'm gonna put on my timer. Otherwise, I'll work on a thing forever and never stop. Oh, and this time I'm working without reference, so this was all done with just coming out of my imagination, trying to feel out a dynamic pose and get that wonderful line of action here through the body. And again, trying to channel that happy, naive character in the pose. But I can see I have some proportion issues I'll have to deal with. Like her facial features are very large. But anyways, timer set, so let's do it. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great October too. I've just been, like I said, working on the book and just now finishing that up so I can breathe again and enjoy a normal schedule, so I'm pretty excited about that. It is nice to draw stuff that's not intricate Art Nouveau. I'm glad to be back to doing some fantasy. See, I'm remembering to label my layers for once. So since Demi is actually in the chat, or not Demi, oh wait, is this your character, Sam? If it is your character, you should tell us a little more about her. She is just freaking adorbs. Oop. Have to get used to all these newfangled Photoshop features they've been adding, because free transform operates completely differently now. I'm so used to holding down shift to keep the proportional transform going, but now it's the total opposite. Like, it's proportional by default, and that's been messing me up since the update. Demi's not here, but I am recording this, or YouTube is recording this, so she can watch it later. Oh, hello! Now she's in the chat. You should totally ramble to us about the adventures of Clementine. While I, meanwhile, do the block in of the major value shapes. I kind of took some liberties with her outfit. Because she's, what was she? She's rogue and sorcerer. So that leaves a lot of fashion options open if you want to be that sleek rogue with a sleek body armor, which is kind of like what I took from Emmy Boone's take on Clementine. And I sort of did a mix of a mage look with rogue elements like the little knife, then the sorcerer vials and component pouches and stuff, or spell components and whatnot. Or at least I feel like any magical types need to have pouches and vials and whatnot, because it's just fun. Although I think actually, do sorcerers need the components? I know wizards do. And warlocks do as well. I've never actually played a sorcerer. Only a warlock. Mages kind of scared me away because they have so much management. Like, there was no way I was gonna remember all the spells and whatnot, so I went with the warlock, which is like the entry-level mage. And even then I forget sometimes what I can do. I'm like, oh, like, Eldritch Blast, yeah. Yes, pouches just look cool. You just have to have them. And I figure even for a rogue, you can have vials of different useful substances like poisons and whatnot. And of course I had to have the dramatic cloak swoosh. Because you can't have a D&D character with a cloak and not have the dramatic cloak swoosh. Oh hey, is that Faith Ember? She's your character. Awesome, I have learned a thing about sorcerers. They do need components. I might have to try sorcerers sometime because they do sound pretty cool with like the sorcery points that you get for the various magical effects. I've been pondering dual classing with my warlock and seeing if I could custom make a bibliomancer with her, since her whole thing is grimoires, like sentient grimoires. I'm still trying to convince my DM/husband to let me do that. It would be pretty awesome. Yay, it's so cool to have the player in here. I hope I've done your character some justice. She's super adorable. Faith Ember says sorcerers are cool, but don't take too many spells with concentration. Yeah, that's such a pain in the butt. I deal with that a little bit with my warlock. And one of the first feats I took was the warcaster, so I could, you know, cast with a focus in one hand and roll for that lets you like do something differently with your constitution roll for concentration checks. It makes it easier to cast spells with concentration, basically. See how good I am with rules, y'all? I'm terrible at rules. I am mostly an RP person, so I'll come up with a character in this long dramatic history and then do showy stuff in battle and ask the DM, hey, can I do that? Is this math right? Oh my gosh, she got turned from a halfling into a... Wow, wild magic is a trip. I think of the sorcerer types that the wild magic one was the most fun. Ooh, I gotta sneeze. Oh, it won't come out. Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, I will try not to sniffle snort too much. Thanks, guys. But yeah, I should totally try some of the more theatrical games. Like, I've been recommended to the Fate system as well. Which, when I first heard it, I was like, does that have anything to do with Fate Stay Night? And no, it doesn't. But it still sounds pretty cool. But it's pretty awesome because my DM actually runs a very theatrical game for D&D, and I like that. So, like, a lot of our combat is very puzzle-based. Like, enemies aren't just straightforward. They always have something that we have to observe and figure out. Because my husband slash DM plays too much Final Fantasy 14, so there's always a trick to the fights, which I kind of like. But I kind of miss D&D because we've been on hiatus for a while. I've been working on the book, so I am so excited to get back to it. Can't wait to play again. Need more ear. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself while I blow my nose, so 1 second. Okay. So it's either a magical hand sign, or she likes death metal. So I'm actually was pretty inspired by Castlevania Season 2, because Sypha's animations for her magic are freaking gorgeous. She does a lot of neat hand motions like that, where she'll curl the two in her fingers and move her arms around to cast the magic, and it's beautiful. If you guys haven't watched that on Netflix yet, it's lovely. I really enjoyed it. Like, even if the show weren't that interesting, I'd probably watch it anyway, just because 2D animation is my jam. I hope it never dies out. So whenever I see something like Castlevania, I'm totally supporting that, because 2D animation needs to make a comeback. I'm not a super fan of the kind of fake cel-shaded animation, like Dragon Prince, for example. As much as I actually really loved that show, the animation was very, it was very choppy, and the frame pacing was all off. But if they can refine it, that would be pretty cool. But I just still have a special place in my heart for the 2D animated stuff. Hand-drawn. Now let's see if I can draw this smile without it looking like a horror movie smile, because like drawing expressions, especially smiles, is very difficult for me. That's why everyone usually has this like kind of elegant, dramatic look on their face, because it's just easier to draw than smiles. But you know, practice makes perfect, so let's see if I can give her a normal smile. I can do it. Okay, time to name some layers. They're getting out of control. I think if you can give me a smile that doesn't involve teeth, those are a little easier. It's when the mouth is open and teeth are showing, or it's a wide smile with teeth, that it can quickly turn into demonic frog in person. But this is more of a subtle smile, like the one Emmy Boone did. Emmy Bun. I like that. It's cute. It fits. I don't even know what's on layer 8. What are you, layer 8? But yeah, if I didn't put a disclaimer already, I am so brain dead and sleep deprived, so y'all get to deal with that during this stream. I'm actually happy that I was able to make a cool pose on such little brain power. The brain, she functions! Pants! Oh, I see some leather I forgot to block in. Oh, and as ever, if you guys have any questions, don't be shy. Feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm looking up every few seconds just to see what y'all are talking about. And, I'm happy to ramble. Give me stuff to talk about so I don't feel like such a nerd talking to myself over here. Well, I'm glad there's some nerd love in the chat. Oh, whoop, wrong color. Well, she's going to a rave. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm slowly working on streaming more, getting more used to chatting and actually talking instead of hiding away in the chat, and multitasking, and trying to work on getting more viewers in here so I can make affiliate because it looks cool, I guess. I want that badge. I have that achievement fever. So it's nice to know that there are more people in here, so maybe I'll get that special badge. Ooh, I can almost get to the fun part now. Yay! I'll have to shade the face, so I'm trying not to jump right into the face. Excuse me. Alright, let's see. How much time do I have? 36. We're good. We're good. Yay, time to draw the face. Faith Ember says I have a nice voice. I appreciate that. I always feel like my voice sounds like a kid's. And when I get nervous, I talk really fast. And laugh uncomfortably. So thank you. So do you guys have any spooky plans for Halloween? I've been like binge watching haunted house reality shows all month. And we actually had our Halloween party, which was really just us watching Castlevania, which is my kind of party. Although since we celebrated this weekend, I'm all like, what? Halloween hasn't happened yet? It's actually during the week. It's like Halloween deja vu. Oh my gosh, I've made super huge ears. Okay, I'm gonna change these up a little. I love some big elf ears, but these are maybe a little too big. They must be sleek and sexy. I wish we had trick-or-treaters here, but our house is kind of terrifying murder house looking. We don't have any lights on our path, and there's a kind of a long walk to get all the way down our driveway. It really looks like where you'd expect to get murdered in the countryside. So we've never had trick-or-treaters come out here. And if we ever do, I will give them the best candy. Because they will have made the journey up our murder driveway to come and get candy. I think larger eyes really suit this character because she has that kind of happy-go-lucky, fun-loving look to her, which large eyes help get across, I think. I actually don't think we will get many trick-or-treaters here just because there's this neighborhood down the road that's much safer looking with lighting. We don't even have street lights here. So everyone will just takes their kids down there and gets all the groovy candy without the chance of being murdered, so... Hey, thanks for sharing my Twitch link. I appreciate it. The only thing about watching all of these haunted house reality shows is they don't scare me per se, but then after I stop watching them, I'll get all like, what was that strange noise in my house? Especially when I'm at home alone. And then my printer will go off at like 3 a.m. in the morning cleaning itself, and it'll scare the crap out of me. Alright, let's see if I can do this smile, y'all. And this nose. Noses are another thing I really need to practice. Hopefully my Wacom clicks aren't hugely loud now that my mic is right next to my Cintiq's hot buttons. Click. So she's looking a bit older than I wanted, so let's see what I can do about this. No, actually no, I think maybe she looks... I'm gonna play with the face shape a bit. Normally I actually go a little more realistic, but it seems I'm working on like a hybrid stylized semi-realism on this one. Just kind of fits when you have wider-eyed characters. Alright, I need to actually work on the rest of the picture. But at this point, this is the step that I like to sort of think about where the deepest shadows are, like the crevice of the nose and the inside of the ear. Try to get those defined first. And also define any edges that that relay important information.
types.
Yay for multiple undos now. That's one of the new features that I really do like. Magic jazz hands. And I just can't have any kind of roguish type character without fingerless gloves. It's just kind of a personal preference when I'm drawing the roguish types. Plus fingerless gloves just look cool. Kind of like the belts and pouches that we were talking about earlier. You've got to have those elements with any kind of fantasy character. Especially the roguish types. Faith Ember, it sounds like your character and mine would get along and probably get into a lot of trouble just from being really naive, because she's, my warlock is just really, like, naive is listed as one of her flaws, because she's, like, freshly leaving home, a new sort of adventurer who would never dream of doing a lot of the things that the party has done. She loves to bake, and her mission is to discover a magic that will let her create food with magical effects in it. So she can help people. But if someone was like, hey, I've got like a special food card in this back alley, she'd probably follow them. She'd be like, ooh, I like food. But thankfully, she's got badass enough spells that she hasn't died yet from like wandering off into an alley because someone lied to her about there being food. And yeah, Sonny, it definitely is a personal preference. I just feel like fingerless gloves, of all the kinds of gloves, leave more dexterity for your fingers when you are a thiefy type who has to work with like thieves' tools or things that require more dexterity, because even just in real life I prefer fingerless gloves myself because I get cold hands a lot, but I still want that dexterity when I'm trying to do art, so I will definitely wear those over anything when I need to do jobs that require, or tasks that require that just a little bit more dexterity. So that's mostly why I am drawn to the fingerless gloves for can't speak today. Roguish, dexterous types. But I can admit when that's personal preference too. Let's see, let's go ahead and get those magic fireballs in there. Can't you wear bracers over fingerless gloves though? Oh man, what am I doing? I'm getting into this discussion with someone who LARPs, who probably knows way more about armor than I actually do. And I think a lot of what I'm talking about also is an aesthetic thing. Which I fully admit sometimes does not make sense. So it's partially look and partially, I think, implying dexterity over layering a lot of armor on top of someone that might be more dexterous in real life, but I think as far as getting across the look of dexterity in a character's presence, that you would show certain details that make them feel that way. Like having them in a light and airy outfit, etc, etc. But now I'm just rambling. Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry, Sonny. I'm just poking fun at you. I'd actually love to pick your brain sometime about heavier armor and references for armor, because I have less experience drawing the heavier armor stuff than I do like light stuff like this, so I'd love to actually practice that detail, and I bet you know a ton of sources for this kind of thing. And that is why it's also fun to draw these kinds of characters. I've been drawing women in haute couture flowing dresses for so long that it's actually kind of fun to get to these kinds of characters and draw the sword and sorcery fantasy stuff. Feels good. But yeah, Sonny, don't worry. It's more of a discussion than an argument. And it helps me too, because I gotta get my brain in that space to learn how to draw armor and equipment better, because it is a weakness of mine. So if I can combine, like, armor detail with enough realism, but also with enough aesthetically pleasing looks, then I would be very happy. That's where I want to be with my art. And I think for me that's just going to involve studying, and something I'll probably stream later is taking photos of armor, like historical plates and whatnot, and deconstructing, dissecting it visually in different studies and whatnot. Because that'll help me move from doing more archetypal armor structures or clothing structures and bringing in more practicality and texture and realism. Okay, fire time. Cause I heard this guy likes fire. So Faith Ember, what is your favorite spell if you had to pick one? Anyone, what's your favorite spell if you have a D&D character who's a spellcaster? It would be pretty boring if I said Eldritch Blast was one of my favorites. I gotta think. Stinking Cloud makes me laugh, so I might go with that one. The fact that my character's so cute and innocent looking, you would not think she'd cast a cloud that makes you want to barf, which amuses me. I'd say D&D systems, but if you want to say what your other favorite spell is from another system, sure, go for it. Oh, yes, Wall of Fire. How could I forget that one? I also like Fire Shield, because the mental image of erupting into flame and being able to change that from flame to ice is pretty cool. I kind of forgot I had that spell. Oh man, it's been too long. I really need to get back to our D&D game. Fire! You know what? Trying to see if I want some motion lines, which would be pretty cool. What is warding bond? Alcohol creation would be an amazing spell. I'm actually kind of digging the trolling possibilities of Unseen Servant too. One, I think my character would like being able to have someone serve all the food that she makes, and then also troll people by holding things in midair and them not understanding what's going on. Trollolol. Ah, cool. That's what warding bond does. It allows, for other people who don't know, not reading the chat, it allows people, the caster and another, to share damage taken. That's handy. Alright, gonna find some of these major folds before I can hopefully get some shading going on in here. Ah, I didn't know paladins get something like Compel Duel. They've changed so much since I played back in like 3.5. It's pretty cool, actually. Kind of reminds me of like Righteous Devil, where you can compel, from Exalted, for those who don't know, where you can compel evil people to come out and face you, which is one of the most like theatrical skills I'm dying for an excuse to use that in a story. Yay, drapery! Oh man, all the spells you guys are talking about in chat makes me want to dare to play another caster, because it's so cool what you can do. And those decks of cards you can get now are actually pretty handy. They've been helping me out with my warlock, so maybe it won't be so scary to play a caster. Another one with more spell choices than a warlock. If only so I can do cool stuffs too. Alright, time to get some more shape in the hair. Define some of these strands. Oh, and delayed reaction, since I've gotten kind of involved drawing hair here and drapery and all that. I have been playing 5e. Our most recent game has been 5e, but it's kind of been custom, so still learning how everything is different in 5e too, since I hadn't played a long time before we started this 5e game. But I appreciate the offer. no, it's the hour timer, but I'm not done yet. I still want to fiddle a little more. Maybe get some really quick shading in. Oops. Y'all are funny. It's so fun to see people from the same adventuring party in the chat, because then they're like shit talking their other characters, but in a fun way. I'm sure if my party members were here, they'd probably talk about my character exploding people or cursing people. Actually, she hasn't exploded anyone. She's just exploded the ground near people just to scare them away. So we don't have to deal with these highwaymen that are always trying to rob us. She'd much rather be baking cookies. And hey, it's nice to see more folks in here. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully I can keep doing more streams, and maybe one day in the future I'll have a schedule. But until I have a schedule, if you do the follow thing, maybe one day you will catch me when I stream. Okay, I have a stray mark, and I don't know what layer it's on. What? Where? Where are you, Mark? Let's see if I can grab it with, is it? Ah, okay. There we go. Alright, we're cool. The mark is gone. Alright, so I talked about some quick shading here, and I'm going to do the adjustment layer method. There we go, okay. Okay, so exploding bandits isn't wrong, but you know. My character tries not to be a murder hobo, even if they kinda sorta are breaking the law and kinda sorta deserve it. Funny enough, the druid and the paladin of our party were the murder hobos. If only because they just didn't want to, they don't deal with needless BS. And we have a paladin of the, was it Oath of Vengeance, so he's very pragmatic. It's like, this is gonna take, if this is gonna be a problem, then I can just kill him so we can go on with our day. But my character is more like, more on the compassion end of the scale. She doesn't like to kill people unless she has to. Okay, so shading. I'm gonna do some shading before I stop. So adjustment layer method is using an adjustment layer to darken the image, but only masking in the areas that are dark, like the shadows. So I'll show you what I mean. Et voila! Quick shadows. And since I have that above all layers, I can sit here and mask above all the layers instead of having to sit here and shade each layer individually, which is something I used to do before, so I like this method for doing some quick shading when you don't have a lot of time. Easy bake shading. And then if I want to change how dark these shadows are, I can just up the contrast, lower the contrast, up the brightness, lower the brightness, etc. So it's pretty handy. Then I can control, have some fine control over the shadows. And highlights too, because then I can make a highlight layer with the brightness set higher. If I really wanted fine control, I can even select the figure from the layers below it and isolate her from the background so I'm not shading the background at the same time. But I'm just doing it the hard way right now by not isolating her from the background. Alright, and now for some highlighting. Something magical about highlighting. It always adds a nice finished touch. But since this is a sketch, I do have to stop myself. As we keep going just a little longer. Because highlights are so sexy. Background needed a little punch up too. Alright, almost done, I think. I always like to add in some texture at the end to help give it that just a little more visual interest. Since digital can flatten out really easily. And I always like to bring sort of a handmade touch to it if I can. Let's see. I'm sure I have the texture saved responsibly in a folder for textures, but I'm being lazy and just gonna grab it from one of my other files. Let's see. Is it in this one? Yes, it is. This is another one of my patrons' monthly sketches, and here is the texture I want. Yeah, texture. Snout kind of has like a, almost like Copic in a way. Alright, well, I think I need to stop messing with it now or I'm gonna be working on it forever. Because I really could fiddle with this. There's so many fun details. But I hope I've done her some justice. And that you like it. It was really cool to have all the players hop in. Oop, I see something else I want to change though. Before I quit, I'm gonna go do that now. I realized when I took the sketch layer away, I did not add any of the lines in the belt. So we're gonna do that real fast. Before I launch into my farewell speech. I'm endlessly amused with the random assortment of crap that spellcasters have to carry around. Okay, let's see how that works. I'm actually going to leave the sketch layer on because again, I love that showing a little bit of your mistakes so you can have that imperfect handmade look. Since when I draw traditionally, I always have like an underdrawing. And I kind of like when you can see underdrawing. Just a little bit. Alright, okay. I'm gonna stop now. It was really cool to have you all tune in, and thanks for joining me. I really hope you like this. She was a lot of fun. I need more characters like this. I have way too many angsty emo characters. And again, this has been a Patreon sketch for my sketch collector, Demi, who is awesome. I do these sketches for, I have 4 slots that people can pay for, and they get to choose a topic for me to sketch in an hour or more, considering. So if you are into that sort of thing and want to see how I would draw one of your characters, keep an eye on my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Angela Sasser, and I also share articles and coloring pages and all that sort of thing on there. So check it out if you like that sort of thing. And again, thanks for the support and for tuning in. I've got 3 more sketches to do since I'm all full up this month on character sketches, so I'll be back with more fun characters. And I'll also send this file to Demi. You guys can use it for whatever personal stuff you like, because I know it's fun to have little icons and things for your characters, so feel free to use it for fun things. And, yep, I'm gonna go stretch and start drawing on the next one. I might be back to stream after I stretch, but I always take a little break, be healthy and all that stuff. So maybe catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, and maybe I'll see you another time. I am off for now, so bye everybody!